People may laugh and ridicule me for trying to find these mystical beasts, but they're real. I swear on it. I'm now going to show you some examples of what goblins may look like. This is one example. This is a malicious goblin. Ones like to fight and be angry, usually brainwashed by some type of sorcerer or wizard. This is a friendly one. A little more quaint. Want to have a conversation and drink bitter tea. Usually good friends. It's another goblin. The third goblin. The intelligent type. The one that knows what they're talking about. Very inquisitive. Know what to do. Now, as we move on, I'm going to teach you how to catch these goblins. But first, you need to know a few facts about goblins. They're very small, usually ranging from 4 inches to 4 feet. So the size of goblins vary, so to find them and locate them can be rather difficult. They could be in a crease of someone's back leg or hidden inside the crevice of a bridge. You never know, goblins are tricky. Their name is French. It's Goblin, means rogue or something terrible. Just a little history fact, you guys need to know about what the name comes from. They're thin, bald, camouflaged to fit the surrounding environment. Because they usually live out in the wild, they're not running around in urban areas. They work for witches and sorcerers, so they're servitude. They have to work for them, and if they don't, they disappear into dust. That was actually inside of one of the chronicles that wrote about why goblins are goblins and what goblins are. They're cowardly. They're not good. They hide from things. They don't take things seriously. You can't trust a goblin. I mean, they don't do anything real. Everything they do is so mischievous and false. They don't take anything seriously. They have no respect. They have no respect. What? They have no respect for anything that happens. Like, they'll sneak into your house. They'll steal your books, rearrange them unalphabetically. They'll take your clothes, put them on the floor. That's what they do. They cause mischief and headaches from annoyance. That's what goblins do. Now, bringing up to the whole reason of why we have this presentation. Why do we hunt goblins? Why do we hunt them? Well, I'll tell you why we hunt goblins. Because we don't want them messing around with our children. We don't want them messing around with our books and clothes. So now I'm going to teach you a very simple way to catch a goblin. You're going to need a stick, and you're going to need a box. I usually like using smaller boxes. Doesn't kill them, just traps them. And you can kill them later. I'll tell you guys that later. And that is how you catch a goblin. You're usually going to want to use some kind of bait or trap. I prefer small children or weak old dogs. Usually the best way to catch them. Usually the call for a goblin is just the piercing scream of anybody. And that just usually brings them in. They're interested. Not necessarily they want to come in and see you pain. They're just interested in what's happening. That's just how goblins are. That's how you catch a goblin. And then you can either do one of 2 approaches. Goblin goes in. You just caught yourself a goblin. Another way, you can have a string. If you're willing to buy a string, I'm not into the whole buying things for goblins. I'd much rather use my fist and sticks. That's how I like to catch them. Oh my gosh, where'd he go? Mr. Butler? What happened?
On the right.
Oh, there it is. That's pretty. Okay, now, excuse me while things didn't go as necessarily. Oh my gosh. So now I'm going to show, Jesus, there's things that come up on here, Mr. Butler. Top row. Oh, that's right. Okay, this next I'm going to show you is a previous journey that I had just gone on hunting goblins. This is just me and my constituent, Shalana Moore. Respect. So now we're going to take you into the realms of goblin hunting. If you can't handle visible like things that are just going to be very graphic, you should probably leave the room. If you're afraid of seeing a goblin in pain, struggling for its weak, useless life, you should leave. Okay, so these are the maps we use to find the goblins. As you can tell, this is a map of Minnesota. Okay.
That's where we were.
That's where we were. We were in Minnesota. Looking for the animals. You can tell I was pointing around. We're both looking at it. Landon has fingerless gloves. It's genius. Now we're looking as to how we're going to approach these goblins. Like, what direction should we go in? Like, we could go over there around the trees. It's all very strategic. Everything's strategic. There's us looking at 2003 Atlas. How we're going to approach this. Yeah, we're confused because we're thinking here, there, you know. The things I'm holding are they're called goblin finders, and you hold them out, and they magically direct you towards a goblin's magnetic pole, and then that's Landon's beating stick. But what's happening is we're seeing goblin tracks. The thing is the only people that can see goblin tracks are those that believe goblins really exist. So if you can't see those goblin tracks, you don't believe they exist. See, there's some more goblin tracks. Big ones there.
Those are big ones.
They're deep. We started pulling around. We were getting in a certain direction. We started finding them. We're chasing after them. They can fly. Heads up. That's why we were looking up in the sky. We found something. That's all that's saying is, holy cow, we got something. And we found it, and it was over in the tunnel that they had dug in the ground. That's the tunnel. As you can tell, Landon has a beat stick that's very prominent. I have a wooden stick with a metal file tied onto the end, because that's my weapon of choice. I'm more of a stabber, not really a beater. Well, with goblins. That's us setting up the trap, because we knew it was close. Okay, we just trapped a goblin. So what happened is the goblin came creeping out from underneath, and me and Landon held completely still because their sight is completely dependent on movement. And we didn't move. And it comes up and it magically gets inside the box, hunkers down because it needs somewhere warm to stay. We put no bait down yet, and we kicked the stick, and then it was stuck, and we're just about ready to beat the crap out of that goblin. We're beating the crap out of that goblin. It's stuck inside there. Now, what happens now, I'm going to warn you, are the twists that happen that are involved with goblin hunting. The goblin escapes from the box. It jumps up towards Landon, and out of fear, I grab mine. I'm going to throw. Landon's leaning back. These goblins coming straight. Just imagine a 4-foot to 4-inch goblin jumping at you.
It was terrible.
It was extremely scary. He's right here. Start. Okay, these are the several attempts that we took of trying. I'm just gonna see these. And now we caught the big goblin, and my stake went through the goblin's heart, pointless, tiny, crumpled up black heart. And we killed it. Now Landon's stabbing it in the leg so it can't run. And he's starting to back its head. But I am standing there, fists ready, because, what can I say? I'm a pretty manly man. I like to use my fists to beat people up. That's a dead goblin. That's a good one. Sorry if you can see, that's a big one.
It's our biggest one of the season. So
Probably the biggest one of our season. That's Landon's battle pose. We always like to take our battle poses. It's a good one. That's us holding the dead goblin. We like to take kind of team photos. It's kind of something we like to put in picture frames and remember ourselves by. And That is it. Now it disappeared again. Stupid. But in conclusion, I'm just going to leave that up there because that's one heck of a handsome man. If you want to know how to catch goblins, you can either ask me, ask Landon, or just find your own ingenious way to catch these little beasts that roam our world. And if you don't believe me they exist, best be watching your back.